Hi everyone, it's Marie from Teti Soap. And so I decided to make another soap from start to finish, or in a soap video I should say, from start to finish. I'm making a lavender swirl, and right now I'm adding the French pink clay to the base oils. So I'm going to mix this with my stick blender to make sure that it's all nicely mixed in and incorporated. And so my base color is going to be pink, and then I'm going to have a what I'm hoping was a lavender color. In the end it turned out a little bit more mauvey, more lilac-y, but there's going to be a swirly pattern in the soap, and then I'm going to have the top, which is going to be textured, is also going to be lavender or lilac-y colored. So we're mixing in the clay. Now we're adding the lye solution to the soap. It blends right nicely in, and I'm going to use my stick blender now to give it a few quick whizzes just to make sure that it's all nicely mixed in and incorporated. And then I'm going to only mix it until it's very, very, very light trace, because I still have to take part of it and color it for the lavender part, and then I want to have it liquidy enough so that I can actually swirl it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So here we've got the main batter, which is nicely pink. I'm going to add now my essential oils. So I'm using lavender and rosemary. That's one of my favorite blends. So I'm only going to hand stir this in. I'm not going to use the stick blender because I just don't want to make it any thicker at this point. There we go, it looks pretty good. Now we're going to take some aside and we're going to start playing with the color. And making a mess at the same time with all the dripping. Every time I pour from that big bowl I keep thinking I'm not going to make a mess this time, and it invariably drip, 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 drip. So I'm adding some blue. I'm going to mix it in. And in hindsight, I should have stick blended it at this point as well, just to see exactly what the final color would be. Because even though the color looks mixed in, it's not really fully mixed in. And to me at this point it looked too, well, not too blue, but too dark drabby. So I decided I was going to add a little bit of red to it. So I've got my red oxide there. But in the end, I should have probably left it more bluish. I added too much red to it. Because I'm going to add some more now. Because I'm still thinking it's too blue, but oh well, live and learn. Okay, so now I'm going to stick blend this, and it's going to actually start to look a little bit more red. So, of course, then I'll end up adding some more blue to it. There we go. Whiz, whiz, whiz. And the lighting on my camera and the overhead lighting doesn't really convey the right shade. It sometimes looks a little bit more yellow than it is, and sometimes it keeps changing color through the video. You might notice that. But here we go. It's looking downright lilac-y. So I'm going to add some more blue to try to make it a true lavender. Although that's not going to make much of a difference. In the end, it does look more mauvey than it does lavender, but it still turns out a nice color. Next time I do this, though, I just might go and buy some ultramarine violet and use that instead of trying to mix the blue and the red and the pink and playing color games. There we go. More blue, please. So at this point I could have added more blue, or I didn't have any mixed up anymore, but I could have made some more. But I thought, well, it's already getting thick enough. I don't want to get it any thicker by mixing it. So we'll use it as is. So now we're going to get the main batter, put it into the mold, and it's nice and very thin trace, so it pours quite nicely. And then when I pour the lavender portion, it's not going to just sit on top, because I do want it to sink quite a bit to get it all the way throughout evenly. So of course you see me frantically scraping the bowl, trying to get every last bit out. I do hate wasting soap. But I'm still trying to find the best spatula. These spatulas are nice because they're all in one piece, but they don't scrape very well. I have some other spatulas that scrape a lot better, but they are in two pieces, and to clean them you have to take them apart, and it's a little bit more difficult to get them really clean. Besides, I like the color of that spatula. I have another one like that, bright orange. So this is, I mush the soap batter around like that. It helps to get some of the bubbles out. And then still tamp it down for a few times. Oh, clean it first, of course. Clean my mess. All right. Bang, bang, bang. All right. So now we've got the lavender portion, which is downright mauvey. We'll pour that in there. Keep some from the top for the top. And there goes the hanger swirl. And I'm actually quite aggressive with my swirling. Up and down, up and down, up and down, and then I go back and forth. There I go with the back and forth. And then more back up and down, back and forth, up and down. So it's very well swirled. And here we go. We're going to put the last on top. At this point I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, if I was going to have two colors and swirl it or just leave it as is. But I've got quite a bit of batter left, so in the end I decided just to cover the whole soap and then just texture it. And actually I could have waited a little bit longer before adding this layer, because it did sink a little bit unevenly. So it wasn't a straight layer across the top, but that still looks pretty good. Wow, it's amazing how much soap there is in that cup. Here we go. I'm going to smooth it out. So it's still a little bit thin, too thin to really texture it quite nicely. So I smoothed it out and I left it sitting for a little bit. There we go, a little while later. Now we come back. I'm going to use a nice spoon, and here we go. We're going to play with the top and texture it. I could have used a chopstick, or some people use a whisk, but I just wanted it to look like waves, or little peaks and valleys, almost like a meringue on a lemon meringue pie. There we go, just about done. So now I'm spritzing it with isopropyl alcohol, 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can use 70% as well, but I find it does help to prevent ash from building up. It doesn't always prevent it. Sometimes you get a little bit here and there, but I think it does cut down on quite a bit of it. So we're going to clean up the mess and we're just about done. There we go. Now 24 hours later, I've cut the soap. Of course, take my sleeve out of the way. There we go. And there we go. So pink on the outside, purplish kind of on the top with the little swirl. So it's not much swirl there, but it does get quite a bit more on the inside as you go down. That was really actually quite hard, and usually my soaps aren't all that hard. I don't use any sodium lactate. So there you can see the swirl with my aggressive hanger technique. It really did get swirled around. There we go. And here's the finished bars. So a little bit more red than I would have liked, but nice, very nice smelling soap, and actually not too bad looking. Kind of some pretty swirls in there. In some bars it looks like the purple part is the swirly part, and in other parts you see the white parts or the pink parts are the swirly parts. And the background is the lavender color. So thank you for watching. Bye for now.